Okay, so we're completely flexible. You can change your posture at any point. You can have sips of water, have whatever you need to do, stretch. We're here really primarily to just be kind to ourselves, to not force ourselves, to not feel like we have to do anything. And gently arrive into this space. I'm going to ring the bell, and we'll use it to symbolize the beginning of our practice. At the beginning of a practice, if you were to look beneath the surface, it also implies releasing the past. And the releasing of the past, it includes our conversation a few moments ago. It includes everything that happened earlier on today. Your work, your duties, everything that's been happening in our personal lives. And then for a brief moment, just notice how you're interpreting my words. How right now I seem to be guiding you into the practice. Sounds are coming out through my lips, through my vocal cords, originating from my vocal cords. And they're causing air molecules to vibrate. These air molecules, these vibrating air molecules, they somehow move through my microphone and then out of your speakers into your ears. And then just for a brief moment, recognize that the only reason these sounds that I'm making make any sense to you is because you understand the language called English, that you learned it somehow, somewhere along your life. And that's information that's stored within the mind. But all you're hearing are sounds. And the sounds, they make absolutely no sense until they move through the filter called the mind. And then the mind, amazingly, it translates these sounds into language, into meaning, and you give meaning to every sound that you hear. And a nice way in which to illustrate this is if I were to switch languages, if I were to speak a different language that you were unfamiliar with, all you would be hearing would be sounds. This wouldn't really be a guided meditation. You just hear mumblings coming out of my lips. You may wonder why I'm beginning the practice in this way. It's just simply to present to us the possibility that we are guiding ourselves into this meditation. There are 6 of us here, and each and every one of us is possibly attaching different meanings to the words that are coming out of my lips. I may mean something, you may interpret it in a different way based on your understanding of these particular words. Now, let's look at Valentine's Day. Today is the 14th of February. It's Valentine's Day. And let's not limit Valentine's Day to those significant others in our lives. Let's just broaden it to include every relationship in our lives. Those relationships we have with our parents, with our siblings, of course, with our partners, our children, friends. Could it be, let's contemplate on the possibility that we have been giving meaning to all of these relationships, how much a person cares about us, appreciates us, how much we appreciate and care about those others around us. We giving meaning to every single one of these relationships, the same way in which we give meaning to these strange sounds coming out of my lips. The source of all of that love, everyone you've ever cared for, everyone you've ever cared about, everyone who's ever been in your life or passed through your life, the source of that love that we experienced for them arising from within us. And then we notice how we love different people in different ways. And when I speak about people, I think I would probably include our pets and our animal friends in the same way. We love some people more than others. We believe others love us more than others around us. What if this love was indivisible? What if it is always there within us and around us? But it is simply that we, through the conditioning of our mind, learned where to share this love, when to receive this love, and what doses we are deserving of this love and those around us are deserving of that love. What if it's all based on the conditions that we have learned through our families, through our communities, through our societies, through the books, the magazines we've read, the advertising industry? Let today's practice be simply one of reminding ourselves how to release these conditions and allow this kindness, this love that is beyond conditions to flow towards us. And it can often begin by the essence. It can often begin by reminding ourselves of the essence of this practice, where we recognize a division. We recognize two parts to us. One, the part which we are familiar with, the one that we often identify ourselves with, and that is our personality. Whatever your name is, the personality that attaches itself to the body, the form, everything it's accumulated, its homes, its cars, its awards, its children, its parents, its siblings, its partners, its pets, everything that's attached to this body, everything that's attached to the mind, which identifies with the body. That's one part. And now let's remind ourselves of that larger part, which is often what these practices are about. Getting in touch with that larger part. Some call it consciousness. Some call it awareness, presence, beingness, the witnessing presence, kindness, stillness. It's a little bit like the space around us that's invisible, that we barely notice. We notice the walls around us, we notice the furniture around us, we notice our toys, our computers, the flooring. But there is a part that is far more crucial, and that is the space containing all of these air molecules that we breathe in. The very reason these walls were erected, so that we may have these private spaces we call our homes and our rooms. And so if the person in this visualization, if the walls and the furniture and the flooring was our personality, the beingness, the witness is the very space that we so often forget about. But there is so much more space. Just as there is so much, just as awareness is everywhere, presence is everywhere, kindness is everywhere. And as we move beyond our personalities, as we move beyond our minds, as we move beyond our bodies, we begin reminding ourselves who we truly are. a constant. Unlike that love that is conditional, unlike that love that changes from depending on who is in front of us or who we are thinking of, that love where we love somebody more than someone else, we feel loved more by one person than the person next to us. When we tap into this spaciousness, this kindness, this love, we become love itself. We become kindness itself, free of any conditions. And in today's practice, let us simply call it one, a practice of oneness. Where we enter into this space beyond conditions, switching on all the taps so that this kindness, this beingness, this awareness flows through our hands, through our eyes, through our ears, through our mouths and our noses, so that it flows through every cell within our bodies. This is a practice where we simply remind ourselves of our relationship with ourselves. And we can use a visualization for this practice. And so in your mind's eye, visualize the image of a mountain. I know we've all done this practice, those who are regulars here, you've done this practice many, many times, but there will be unique aspects to this practice each time as we grow, as we develop. And so treat it as you would a new practice for the first time. Bring into your mind's eye a new mountain peak. Feel its vastness. And as you pan upward and backward, you begin to take in its scale and its size and its vastness. How just like your body, it becomes wider and wider as it moves closer towards the earth. And how it merges into the earth. The same way our bodies rest and sit on these cushions and on these mats. But just like the mountain, you begin to discover there is only a minute part of us that is visible, whether in a mirror or to those around us. This form, this personality. But as we follow the mountain through those points of contact with the earth, we discover that it is only the beginning. And these mountains, they move deep, deep, deep into the crust of the earth. And what was visible was only a tiny part of the mountain. With the ringing of this bell, let us merge this image of this great mountain into that of our bodies, so that the heads become the peaks of this great mountain. Feel, or rather imagine, the ridges around your nose and the curves around your ears and your jawbone. Not so different from the markings of this mountain, of this peak. Your arms, they become the sides of this mountain. Your chest, your back, the mid regions of your body, the various and different sides of this mountain. And now, those points of contact between your body and the cushion and the chair underneath you, that very point, the mountain makes contact with the earth. Feeling the way in which the surfaces underneath you, how they support you, how they mold to the shape of each other, how your skin and flesh molds to the shape of the chair and the cushions and vice versa. And the way in which the mountain requires no effort. It doesn't strain any muscles or joints. Allow your body to surrender itself to the forces of gravity so that your body becomes one, your posture becomes one of balance, of being. And now bring your attention to your breath, because your breath will take you beneath the surface of the earth. Your breath will help you trace those parts of the mountain that are no longer visible to the naked eye. Those parts of the mountain that merge deep into the crust of the earth, where there is warmth, where there is molten lava, where there is so much that is unexplored, that is unknown. And the scientists, they all tell us that they know more about the skies and the heavens than they do about what is underneath us. And so with this bell, trace your breath. Follow your breath through the sensations. First around your nostrils. And as the breath flows in up your nasal passage, and as it bends downwards, down your throat, lungs, stomach, deeper, deeper. If you like, lowering the center of gravity within your body so that it moves below your cushions, your chairs, so that your breath now moves deep down into the earth underneath you, just like this mountain, just like the mountain becoming one with this planet. And the funny thing about this practice is that the deeper and deeper you go into the crust of who you are, into the beingness, into the stillness, into the awareness, You begin to lose your ability to distinguish yourself from your surroundings. You begin to discover how deep underneath the crust, underneath the surface of this earth, we are all connected. Connected with the other mountain ranges, the continents that surround this planet, the seas that are ever changing, continents that are drifting about, moving, all connected, countless other mountain ranges and hills all around the world, mountains deep underneath the oceans and the seas, all connected. And then we begin to get glimpses into this aspect of unconditional kindness, unconditional love. A kind of love no longer requiring any effort, no longer requiring any doing, no longer requiring any rationalization, simply because it begins to dawn on us that we are all connected. Every mountain peak, every lake, every ocean, every tree, every plant, every living thing, every inanimate object, every pebble, every grain of sand, all made up of atoms and molecules with nothing but pure energy within them. Energy that simply takes different forms at different times. And so it no longer becomes an effort in attempting to love, to be kind. It just is. And now we allow all of this energy into our being, into our experience. Even imagining your arms opening up wide so as to embrace and allow and open yourself to the infinite possibilities that up until this moment had been beyond the comprehension of the mind. But here in this practice, we move beyond the mind, beyond expectation, beyond likes and dislikes. We move into the space of being here, now. Recognizing some of the qualities of this great mountain, how it does not attempt to be like any other mountain. It does not attempt to change itself because it is knowing. It has a knowing. It has a deep, deep understanding of its right to be exactly as it is. And that is what the present moment is like. Because as we enter into the present moment, as we step into the present moment, we begin releasing all of the standards that we once had within our minds. Understanding that the mind exists within time, that standards exist from the past and project themselves into the future, but that in this present moment, the past fades away, the future dissolves, and all you're left with is the perfection of this present moment, this great rock of awareness, of presence, of consciousness. If I were to use words such as, you are perfect in every conceivable way, that there is nothing else you need to achieve, no one else you need to be, that there is nothing about you that you need to change. What voices do you hear? Those are the voices of the mind which we are beginning to recognize, beginning to know, and then through recognition, release. For as we develop this relationship with our true selves, we begin to see ourselves the way our true selves sees us, as perfect in every conceivable way. Yes, perhaps acting unconsciously sometimes when disconnected with this beingness, with this kindness. But then there is an understanding and a knowing and a forgiving and a making peace with and an allowing. What does it feel like to be seated here as this mountain? Since this is your visualization, you can be the tallest mountain, the largest mountain, the most magnificent mountain. You can be any mountain you would choose to be. Connect with your breath. Let your breath be the bridge that connects you into this state of beingness, into this space of kindness, where all conditions fade away. Around this mountain, you will see mist, you will see clouds, you will see storms, you will see the changing wind patterns and the changing seasons. But smile as you see these seasons, these clouds, these storms as nothing more than your thoughts. One thought saying that you are less than perfect. You need to be richer or have more qualifications or awards or a particular status. Anything that seems to indicate that you are anything less than perfect. Recognize them to be clouds, storms, changing seasons. Now smile as the bell rings and allow the clouds to simply pass by. Recognizing that these clouds cannot carry you. You are this great mountain anchored here in this moment called the present moment. You may be at a difficult, a challenging part of your life, but notice that these challenges, how they attach themselves to the personality, to the form, to the body, to the mind. And if they are the mind, then they are moving, they are changing. Take a deep breath, anchor yourself, ground yourself into the present moment, and then allow the clouds to move, allow the seasons to change, allow the leaves to fall off the trees. As you enter into this space of stillness, sometimes you can call it the winter of our life. But what follows winter? Spring. And does the mountain know that spring follows winter? It does. It watches, it observes. It does not attempt to define or judge the seasons as good or bad, beautiful or ugly. It just simply allows, appreciating every moment, every breath. Allow the winter. Breathe in deeply. Because it is the seasons that are changing. It is the weather patterns that are changing. It is the winds that are changing, and the storms, and the stillness, and the sunrises, and the sunsets, and the night, and the day. But as you breathe in deeply, you connect yourself into that part that is unchanging, that is unconditional, that simply is. That space. Feel this space. It's not something you think about. It's simply something you experience. It's nothing you need to remember. It's an experience that stays with you always. A spaciousness that can only grow, a kindness that can only grow as we release conditions, as we allow the taps to remain open. Sometimes even releasing the need to distinguish between family and friends. Friends and the strangers who we pass on the street, or who serve us at the shops, or who wait on us at the restaurants. Which does not mean caring or respecting anyone any less, but simply means bringing them all up to that same level. See, looking beyond form, experiencing them from within, beyond form, as those other mountain ranges, lying deep within us. And we can expand this practice, this visualization, so that it brings our bodies back into balance. So that this practice becomes one of healing, one of balancing our bodies. By simply experiencing and recognizing how this vast mountain, this great mountain, this rock of awareness sustains a whole ecosystem of life within it and around it, where there are streams, rivers, countless trees, each with leaves on branches, fields of grass, with flowers, and all of this creates the perfect environment for all forms of life. The very face of the mountain constantly undergoing change as it dances with the weather and the environment around it, and the sun and the rain and the snow and the glaciers. Notice how this mountain, it does not attempt to interfere with its ecosystem. It allows the streams and the rivers to flow, not trying to divert directions. It allows the fish and the salmon and whatever lives within these streams and rivers to swim in whichever direction they choose to. It allows the bears and the mountain lions and the rabbits and the birds to nest and live. In balance, in harmony. It does not attempt to tell the trees when to hold on to leaves, when to release leaves. It simply allows. Let us call this well-being, a practice of allowing. Now, recognizing how our bodies, just like this mountain, sustains a vast ecosystem of life, trillions and trillions of cells that make up our bodies. streams and rivers of blood that flow through. And all we need to do is to be here in the present moment in order to allow well-being to surface. Simply because when we identify with the mind, when we identify ourselves as the clouds and the storms and the changing seasons, it's the equivalent of attempting to change directions of streams and rivers, telling the mountain lions to walk in this way and the bears to walk on their hind legs. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. With the ringing of this bell, let go of your past once again. Let go of your future once again. And just land on your cushions, land on your chairs, arrive once again, perhaps more than any other part in this practice. Land and arrive into the present moment, into the perfection of this present moment, free of its standards, free of its comparisons. Sitting, breathing, and then allowing every cell within your body to return back into a space of balance. You can scan through your body just to seek out any remaining pockets of tightness. And this often happens unconsciously as we identify with certain events or stories within our life. Stories that have become intrinsic belief systems, beliefs about ourselves as being anything but perfect. These get stored up as little pressure points within our bodies. Tightness that almost begins to feel normal. Tightness which ultimately turns from ease into dis-ease. But all we have to do is to be here in the present moment. Let this bell remind you. You can move your fingers about, you can wriggle your toes about, you can shuffle about on your chair and your cushion, reminding yourself where you are. You're in this room with a nice degree of privacy, with a relatively full stomach, with pleasing temperatures around you. Giving yourself this gift of spaciousness, of kindness, of balance. Relaxing all of the skin around your face so that you may experience your facial expression from within, loosening the jaw bones and the cheeks and all of the muscles around the eyelids and the forehead and the scalp. Finding ease all around the skull and then within the skull, where the sockets of the eyes, the muscles behind the eyes, they loosen themselves, becoming like parts of this mountain, just being, watching, observing, releasing thoughts, changing seasons, changing light patterns that often seem like they're going to last forever, but releasing, allowing. And the neck, loosening your neck muscles, relaxing the neck muscles, feeling the breath as it moves down the throat through the windpipe. And then the sides of this great mountain, your shoulders and your arms, experiencing their stillness as they lie beside you, pulling down upon your shoulders. As your shoulders release any remaining pockets of tension and tightness, the chest, the upper back, all of the rivers within, the rivers that flow through your heart, which keeps these rivers of blood flowing, perhaps even detecting its beat, its pump, its rhythm, its pulse. As you recognize how you are a living, breathing presence, beyond this form, as you appreciate that there is absolutely nothing you need to do in order to keep this heart beating and the blood flowing and the lungs breathing and the kidneys functioning and the stomach's digesting. Is this not well-being? And so you are already in a state of allowing. But now we take it deeper and we allow this well-being to permeate and move through every cell around and within our bodies. The stomach muscles relaxing themselves, the lower back, and the whole pelvic region, with the upper leg, both right and left, the knee joints, the calves and the shins and the ankles and the feet, all the way down to the toes and the soles of the feet. Those points of contact between your body and the flooring and the surfaces underneath you. And now breathing in, changing the pace of your breath by breathing in as deeply as you can. Visualizing your breath at this time as light that moves deep into the center of that part you believe yourself to be. That part where there is silence, where there is stillness. That part which is always allowing and accepting of you. kindness itself, where there are no conditions. Almost as though you were being hugged from within. The softness, the beauty. Free of